Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ian Russell here at the Arkansas State Capitol. In just a little bit, we're expecting Governor Asa Hutchinson to sign those bills on tax cuts and school safety funds here. We got a packed room as people are waiting and expecting him to do that. Now, it's been a pretty quick process to get here. Just a 3-day session here with lawmakers meeting on Tuesday, those bills passing through their respective committees on Wednesday, and of course, the governor set to sign here on Thursday. Like I mentioned, those bills are about tax cuts and school safety funds. We got a lot of information about those bills right now over on our website at thb11.com. Like I mentioned, a packed room here, probably about 40 people in here waiting for the governor. We're going to go ahead and step out of the way as we wait for him to come in here.
No, I'm not going to be in the picture.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming.
You block that? Oh, okay, other side of it. Yes, gotcha. Well, you're gonna have to tell them again. Y'all, we need some of y'all over here.
Please.
And you can get on the other side of the TV.
Where do you want us to be?
But they just needed it
We need
balanced.
the pretty ones.
Yeah, just kind of weighted over
Way off balance for a long time. There you go.
I think you have to leave the TV screen exposed.
Man, there is.
You've got way too many rules.
Hey, I asked that guy. Come on, Howard. Here we go. These aren't my rules. Right here, Howard. You know that I'm the oldest sister. You know, Howard.
I'll be all locked down.
We're the senators. But I'm going in. Get up here.
Ask any questions. He'll answer all the hard questions.
Blocked away. Good to see you. Are you number one?
I'm number one.
Who's going to get number one after you?
I don't know, because I'm fighting.
Yeah.
Thanks for the work.
Carlton, Jim, sorry. Good. Mark. And then Eddie's here.
It's official. It must be official.
Well, thank you for joining us today for this bill signing. First of all, I want to say that I'm grateful for the leadership of the House and Senate, Senate Pro Tem Hickey and the Speaker Shepard for working so closely with their teams about this special session. I've not seen a more efficient and orderly and effective special session that we've had. The fact that we went in with a call for particular items, actually 2 items, the tax relief package and the school safety package, it was acted upon, and I think everybody is appreciative of the way the session was conducted. And I want to thank them for their leadership and their work on this. Today is an historical day in Arkansas. In 1929, Arkansas enacted the income tax in this state. We were one of the first states to do so. At that time, the tax rate was 5%. In my inaugural address in 2015, I said one of my top priorities was to be more competitive in our tax rates, particularly the individual income tax rate. When I was elected, the income tax rate had increased from the original 5% up to 7%, and that is the highest it's been in the state's history. This tax relief package that has just been enacted takes over $400 million from the state coffers and put it in individual Arkansans' pockets. That is a transfer of wealth from the government to the taxpayer, and it could not come at a more important time. Today, as I sign this legislation, we are lowering the income tax rate to the lowest rate in state history at 4.9%, as is illustrated here. And I want to particularly thank Senator Jonathan Dismang and Representative Joe Jett for sponsoring, for carrying this legislation, all the members of the General Assembly up here sponsoring the legislation, but Senator Dismang and Representative Jett, as chair of the respective committees, not only in carrying the legislation, but in crafting the legislation, have been key to providing this relief. In less than 8 years, we have taken the income tax rate from the highest it's ever been to the lowest it has ever been, while also growing our state reserves from $0 to $2 billion. We've accomplished this through a smarter, leaner, and more efficient state government, and that has increased funding at the same time for education, public safety, and health care. These tax cuts strengthen Arkansas families by giving them more control over their own lives. We're charting a course for the taxpayers of all income levels to have more money in their pockets to save, spend, or to invest. Today, we're providing financial relief for low and middle income taxpayers with a $150 non-refundable tax credit and lowering the top rate to 4.9%, effective immediately. When we look at the relief in this session, let me just give a couple illustrations. If you had a net taxable income of $20,000, the tax bill will be $226 lower this year. If you had a taxable income of $50,000, your tax bill will be $482 lower. If you had a taxable income, and it's combined even, the tax bill will be $939 lower. You add all of this up across taxpayers in Arkansas, it's over $400 million in relief. And I want to thank our Department of Finance that's here for the incredible work. Secretary Walther, thank you for helping to guide this transformation of state government as well. Now let me talk about the second bill. When parents drop their children off at school, they want to have confidence their children are going to be safe. And one thing the state can do is to assist in the implementation of the School Safety Commission recommendations that has convened and reconvened, made recommendations. They've been followed. The legislatures paid attention to them, has worked through these issues. And because of that, our children are safer today, but we also expect more. And so this $50 million grant program for our local school districts and for school safety initiatives will allow schools to implement some of the one-time recommendations that come out of the School Safety Commission. And I want to recognize, of course, Senator Missy Irvin, Chair of the Education Committee, Representative Cozart, and all the other House and Senate sponsors that made this possible and helped to guide this. And my vision is that we can give parents confidence that our children will be safe. With that, let me recognize a good partner through a number of legislative sessions who has guided the House so extremely well, Speaker Matthew Shepard. Where are you, Matthew?
I'm right here. Well, first off, thank you, Governor. Thank you for your work on this package, both on the tax relief package and the school safety package. I want to thank the members of the House as well as the members of the Senate for their hard work. Special sessions, I said earlier today on the House floor, there's always a bit of disruption that goes along with a special session, unlike a regular session or a fiscal session that you know months in advance that you're going to be here on a certain date and a certain time. Special sessions, by their nature, are things that come up relatively quickly, and sometimes that can lead to some issues as you go into session and as you work through those issues. But I was really pleased with the fact that we came in, we worked on a very efficient basis, we debated the issues, and fortunately I think we were able to advance real meaningful tax relief for all Arkansas taxpayers. And that goes on top of what we had already done last year in passing the largest tax cut in the history of the state of Arkansas. But to be able to follow that up relatively quickly, and moving that top rate to 4.9%, I think was something that I know from the House end was very important, but I believe it was something that's important for Arkansas taxpayers. And to go along with the tax credit that we included, as the governor has outlined, the governor's given you very real examples of what that means to Arkansas taxpayers. And so I want to thank the legislature, thank the executive branch. I would also thank the Department of Finance and Administration for their work. Over the last few weeks, there was some discussion. They had to do quite a bit of research and digging, but were able to give us the information to give us confidence as we move forward with this tax relief package. And so, again, I think it's a great day for the people of Arkansas, and thank you again to my colleagues for their work.
And with that, we're going to sign it, if everybody gather around, and we'll come back here if the media has any questions. I've got a picture on my wall of you and me doing this earlier. It's a good one.
We need to do one for everyone who went through.
Exactly. All right, so this is House Bill 1002 from the third extraordinary session, and this is the tax relief package that I just outlined, signing this into law. Oh boy, this is 11. I should remember that's my brother's birthday.
Together, I'm with you.
And this is the Senate version of the tax bill. I'll sign this one as well. And and just a word on the tax bill. It's so often we sign the bills here that you look at 90 days down the road, or you look at next year that it goes into effect. This is an example of where it goes to effect immediately, and it applies January 1, 2022. And then the next bill, Senate Bill 2, is the school safety appropriation for the $50 million. And I see Senator Missy Irvin's signature on here. I'll sign it right beside hers.
I'm keeping that one.
And this has an emergency clause, and so as soon as the rules are put into place and adopted, then this will be available for this school year for the safety of our children, the benefit of our school districts. And so with that, Senator Dismang, I'm going to give you some of those there, and then Mr. Speaker. Well, we got to give one out.
Give one.
Great job by all.
Thank you.
Here you go.
All right, now the technical expert will get to answer all the questions. Are there any questions by anyone?
Are there any regrets about not being able to take up teacher pay raises? You had said there wasn't support among lawmakers, though you were inclined to support it.
Well, I've learned as governor that you have to have partners in this business, and the legislature is a partner with me. And you listen to them, and many times there's a lot of wisdom in what they say, and it makes a lot of sense that you have the adequacy review it, and that it is addressed next January. And I have confidence it will be addressed next January. And they also push the school districts to utilize ARPA funding for immediate needs in the schools to benefit the teachers and the staff. So that's what partnership's about. And so I'm glad the issue is raised. It's been debated, and I think it'll strengthen that case and the action next year. Mr. Speaker, do you want to add anything to that?
Well, I'd echo the governor's comments. When it comes to legislating, I've said before, legislating is a team effort, and so whether it's developing consensus on the House end or the Senate end, it takes a team, and and likewise across the branches of government, working with the executive, you work to try to find common ground. And in this case, I, like the governor, believe that there will be action taken on teacher pay. But as I said earlier today upstairs, that even before this debate was elevated, even before that, the House and Senate Education Committees were already at work on the issue. And so it's something that's very significant for all of us. I think that many people have said, I don't think there's a legislator out here that doesn't want to do more for teachers. I think that what it comes down to is developing the right plan, working through the process that, from a legislative standpoint, that we feel most comfortable with. But this is not the end of any discussion. That discussion is ongoing and will continue as we go through that adequacy process.
Governor, quick question. Why didn't you actually take the teacher plan into call and let the process of the House and Senate votes bear out the legislature process so that teachers can receive those raises and that it wouldn't be taken from the surplus?
Because I can count votes, and I didn't think I'd get any bill through the education committees. And so we try to have a consensus on what is going to be presented in special session to make sure the support is there. And, you can say someone was right, someone was wrong, but the bottom line is that we listened to each other. We worked out what the plan should be, which is addressing it next year. And that's how we respect each other, the different branches of government, and we get things done. And, they also came up with an immediate plan to provide some assistance through the school districts this year.
So I was confused in the Joint Budget Committee about the discussion on school safety grants. It was not really clear who's exactly going to write the rules. Is that going to be Johnny Key? Is it going to be the chairman of the School Safety Commission? Is it going to be the education committees?
Well, the pen is with the Department of Education that will draft the rules. Obviously, they will be in close consultation with the legislature, and then ultimately the legislature will review those through their legislative council.
So when you became governor, I think a couple months in, you talked about hoping your goal was to eventually cut the rate to 5, and you weren't sure whether you'd get there. Thinking back to that, any thoughts?
Well, I actually thought it would be very, very tough to get there, and particularly whenever you reflect back, as you remember, when we started the tax cuts in 2015, the criticism was, you're going to make us just like Kansas, you're going to not be able to fund education, it's going to be disastrous for our budget, and it didn't happen. And we gradually, responsibly cut taxes, and as we grew our economy, as people made decisions over their own money, we realized that we can manage and we can cut the taxes, and we can do it responsibly. So it's been one of the most gratifying things that I've experienced as governor, not just to be able to do it, but to do it in a way that we can meet the needs of the state. And it's just proof. When you set your mind to it, you manage well, you work in partnership with the General Assembly, you can do it. And I said, and it goes back to literally 2014, I'm in West Memphis, and I want to talk about lowering the taxes. And of course, they're right across the river from Tennessee that's got 0%. And the business people there in West Memphis said, if you can get it down to 5%, we can be competitive because we have lower property taxes, we have other structures and benefits that are different. That's one of the reasons I set that as 5%. Now, of course, the goalposts have been moved, and there's a lot of talk among the General Assembly here that after I leave, we'll see where they go.
What do you say on the other side to people, like a particular senator who said there's no studies that show that providing a lower rate actually produces
Produces growth?
Right.
Well, my answer would be join with me as we go and recruit industry. We meet with them, we make our case, and I assure you in every conversation the tax structure that we have is a factor in whether they come here or Mississippi or Texas or Alabama or wherever they're considering. It's one of many factors, but it is a significant factor. And so that's my answer, and I think you're also, you can see the growth that we've had. We've been able to recruit industry here, we're growing, we're creating jobs, and the fact that we are one of the leading states in migration. More people are moving into the state than moving out. And also more wealth is coming into the state than moving out. And that helps your tax revenue. So anecdotally, logically, and experientially, I'd make that case. Senator Dismang, I think you need to talk.
No, in respect to that, I mean, he gave the example. It's West Memphis. It's Texarkana. It's all of our communities that are surrounded, or in our border communities, that are having to compete with, business opportunity across the state line that are being taxed at 0%. And as to his point, I mean, it's a mix of the tax structure that a business is going to look at, but I mean, that's your study. It's not hard to drive and see what's happening in Memphis versus West Memphis, or Texarkana, Arkansas versus Texarkana, Texas. We need to be competitive. We owe it to our citizens. And I think this, it doesn't get us where we need to be, but it gets us a step closer. Again, other states are also ramping up what they're doing in regards to taxation, and for us to just sit idle and on our hands, we would just fall further behind. And so I'm proud of what we were able to do, what we were able to accomplish, and again, it's across everyone. Every payer, every taxpayer in the state of Arkansas is going to benefit from the signage of that bill today.
Yeah, and I started to jump up here just because we do want to focus, though. This was in 2021, our last regular session, we enacted this plan for tax cuts down to 4.9 over time. The reason we're accelerating this is that people in Arkansas need more money in their pocket because of gasoline and high food prices. And that's what motivated this special session. So it is about competitiveness, but it is also taking $400 million that was in our treasury and saying, we want you to be in your pocket. We over-collected taxes, and you're hurting. It's just and right to put that money back in your pocket.
Governor, what are the chances that you call another special session before the year ends?
We'll take a vote. There's no plans, obviously, to do that. I expect this to be my last special session, unless there's some emergency that is totally unpredictable, this will be the last time I'll sign a bill. And I think hopefully the first bill I signed was a tax cut bill, and maybe the last bill I sign is a tax cut bill or a school safety bill. All right, thank you all very much. Appreciate you being here today. Thank you.
You just heard from Governor Hutchinson there, obviously excited to sign those bills, calling this a historic day, historic step for Arkansas and the everyday Arkansans. And there were some differing opinions, though, from those, not in this room, but in the House and Senate chamber, saying that this tax cut bill just didn't do enough for the average Arkansan. And of course, the sponsors of the bill, Senator Jonathan Dismang and Representative Joe Jett on the Senate and House side respectively, say, of course, this does plenty for those everyday Arkansans. Now, there is also a lot of talk of what happens with the rest of that surplus money, of which there's about $1 billion left. I'm breaking that down coming up on THV 11 News at 5 and 6. We'll see you then.